Hey everyone, Jamie Makes here from Miss Paper, and today I'm sharing the first video in a series I'm doing about how I approach Week in the Life. I use a memory planning approach, and it's the only time of year that I create in this format, but I really have enjoyed it. So for the first video, I'm embellishing all of these base calendar pages, is what I call them, and then I adhere them directly onto the page protectors in my album. This is my third year documenting Week in the Life in this way, and it's still fun to do, and really the only way I manage to complete this project every year.
So I printed these out on a 13 by 19 inch sheet of paper. It's Canon matte photo paper, and then I cut it out, each of them out, and I plan to decorate them like this before adding them straight into my album. So they are size 12 by 8 inches, and I've just folded them in half. And then what will happen is I plan, as I did last year, to adhere them directly on top of the page protector, add a little tab here so that you know you're meant to open it, and then that way you can still slip a 6 by 8 size layout into the back side of the page protector. So that is my plan, and I'm just going to go about embellishing directly on here on these empty boxes that I have. And I pull all of the colors that I'm using from the Pink Fresh Life Right Now collection. Actually, I think this is not, oh, it is. I loved all of the color in this kit. And so I got some of the pattern paper, the ephemera, the puffy stickers, enamel dots always, chipboard flare, and then cardstock stickers. And I will just start sticking stuff around in the empty boxes. I have 8 different categories to do that for, so let's get going.
I tend to take a very methodical approach to these types of larger projects where I'm using a set number of products. So in this case, the Pink Fresh products, and I'm using the die cuts, the flare, the chipboard pieces, all of that stuff. And so what I am doing here is kind of just sorting out so that I can see all of the die cuts, the ephemera pieces, and then I will dig around to see what I think works on each layout. I will add all of the die cut pieces that I think work to one layout or one category, and then I'll go to the next category and see what die cut pieces might work there. So I'm not working on each of these calendar pages from start to finish. I'm adding die cuts to all of them, and then I'll switch it up and I'll move to the stickers and add stickers to all of them. Then I'll switch it up and add the circle, chipboard, flare pieces to all of them. That's just one method that seems to work for me. It's how I like to approach these kind of larger projects, and I think it makes it a little bit easier for me just to kind of make it through all of the products and make sure that I'm utilizing all of the product that I have available to me or that I've made available to myself for the project specifically. So I'm picking up different ephemera pieces based on either the sayings or sentiments that they have on them, based on the icons they might be using, and just plugging and playing where I think that they might work. I have 8 different categories in this, in my approach to Week in the Life, which is something that I've been doing it this way for a number of years. And these are the rough categories that I tend to use year on year end. And then some years things fall off and some years things get added. So this year I added an entire calendar for my mom because we're now living very close to her. We're actually only 2 blocks away from her now. We've moved cities completely from the last time I did Work in the Life. So that's a big change, and we have a new house. We're getting settled in. We're doing projects and things like that. And so that's one of the reasons why I love doing this project so much, because you can see how things have changed from year to year. This is the only time of year that I do this kind of in-depth, our everyday life kind of scrapbooking. I don't do Project Life. I do this year have a small stories traveler's notebook that I'm documenting some small stories in, but it's very miscellaneous. It's very here and there. I have a photo and I'm going to tell a story. Whereas this really does capture and encapsulate a week of what it's like, what our life is like at this time. My husband is working full time from home now, which last year he was kind of doing a mix of going into the office and then also working from home. Obviously, he's working in a totally different house now. So that's just the fun stuff that I like to document year in and year out. So the categories, I think I started saying this before. I start all of these with the morning. And so this is my morning page. Then I go into activities around the house. Fur babies is what I call my pets. I have a page that's just about me. This year, a page just about my mom. A page just about Matthew, my husband. And then the last one is the evening time. So I like to start with the morning and end with the evening. And then everything is contained in these respective categories. And so it's a lot of flipping around and it's pretty interactive, and I just really enjoy how that looks. So it's like a snapshot of this is exactly what Matt's week looked like this week in the life. This is what Jamie's life looked like in a week on the life. And you can see it in one spot. Don't have to keep flipping through the days to kind of figure out, okay, Jamie did this on Monday, and then you're in the Tuesday section and the Wednesday section and the Thursday section. It's all here in one contained calendar. And that's just a way that I have found that works really great for me and works and allows me to start and finish this project every year. It's like the only way I've been able to wrap my brain around it. Like I would love to be able to do like a full-on 6x8 page protector, divided page protector album. I have tried that in the past. It's never worked. I like having kind of a formula or a format to work within, and categories. The categories are the major thing that helps me, because I could take a bunch of photos throughout the day, but it's like sitting down and actually doing something with those photos. It can get really overwhelming if you just photograph your entire week. You have hundreds of photos that you somehow want to incorporate into a week in the life album, and it's just kind of like where to start. This is my where to start. This is how I start week in the life. And I make sure as I am putting these calendars together that I'm leaving space for the embellishing. So basically, it's for every single day for each of the categories, I just need one photo and one bit of text to tell the story. And then I leave one blank spot so that I can go back later on once everything is printed and add in my embellishing. And so I'm adding in die cuts, I'm adding in stickers, I'm adding in enamel dots, and now you see me here adding in stamping. I love to stamp. It is one of my favorite things. It is one of my absolute favorite ways to embellish just about any project, and so of course I'm going to incorporate it into my week in the life. One thing that I have to do when I am decorating these pages is this. So I printed these specifically on photo paper. And stamping on photo paper is not always easy. So the paper is meant to absorb ink. So you stamp on it and the paper kind of falls through and it doesn't leave a very good stamped impression. Did I say paper? I meant to say the ink kind of absorbs through and it doesn't leave the best or darkest impression. So that's why I like to use a stamp platform so that I am able to stamp multiple times over repeatedly and get it in the exact same spot in the exact same position. And that way I end up with a nice, clear, dark, crisp stamped image. I use that for a lot of the larger stamping that I'm doing. And then here I am filling in some spots, just using some a basic acrylic block and filling in little pieces or in places where I think I could use some stamping. You saw me a little bit earlier stamp some arrows, and I really liked adding that into this week in the life spread specifically because you're reading up to down. So the column on the far left is all about Monday. The column next to it is all about Tuesday. And so the photo and the journaling are in a column. The photo might be above the journaling, might be below the journaling. And so I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to train your eye with those arrows to read up and down instead of all the way left to right, then to the next block, left to right, then to the next block, left to right, because that's not how this specific format works. So I was happy to be able to think, okay, let me add some arrows in, and also they're fun and add direction to your page. So I added those in. I used some Everyday Explorers leaf florals just to add some greenery, because I think that's a pretty generic icon, so to speak, to use on these photos. And then I got to play with Laura Wanzig's new stamp set that she released with Ali Edwards. I love this stamp set. I am friends with Laura. I was around during the brainstorming stage of this, and so I was super excited to see these come to fruition. And I love that they are in my hands, and now I am able to actually incorporate them into my projects. And I think they are just such a fun addition to my Week in the Life this year. So I'm adding in kind of the smallest details at the very end. Enamel dots kind of finish off most layouts for me. And so I'm just going around and seeing where is there empty space, and what do I need to add in here to fill that empty space. I really set out intentionally with this project to not just kind of fill every box and just make it so full that you're not really focusing on the photos and the words. I really wanted to be intentional with adding just, like a smart balance of embellishments alongside the photos and the words. I don't want to overwhelm you with all of the things. There's already a lot of color in here. So I keep a lot of white space in the various boxes so that I don't overwhelm you. And here I am just adding, a little enamel dot here or there. It's just fun to kind of fill in some of those spaces. And a few spaces I thought I was going to fill in, and then I ended up not filling them in. And you know what? I think that's totally fine. I tried adding in some word strips, and I think that they only really worked out on like 1 or 2 of these pages, and that's totally fine. And then the last bit of embellishing that I did was grabbing a awesome gridded washi. So it's like a clear white with a black grid, and then putting that on every single one of my pages. I tried to do that to where I would have, if I was going to stamp a floral, I was going to stamp a floral on every page. If I was going to stamp some dots, stamp on every page. If I was going to add washi, I'm going to put a little bit on every page. And that just adds a little bit more continuity to my project. It helps tie everything in together. And it's just fun. Let's throw some washi around on the page and see where it looks good.
So now that all of the base pages are done, my plan is to adhere them directly on top of a page protector like this. And I'm going to be using red line tape to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. I've decided to adhere them to the back, and then there will be a tab that I'm gonna affix here so that people know to open it up. Actually, let me think about that. So should I do it like this? Either way, should I do it like this? Yeah, I think this is the best way actually. I'm only hesitant because I want to put a title page in, but that's okay. I can do the title page outside of the page protector now that I think about it. So that should be fine. So let me make sure to do it on this side, which was the original plan, and I'll have the tab here for people to lift, and they won't have to interact with the rings at all.
So I'm using my red line tape, adding it directly onto the back, and I don't love this specific red line tape. It is really chunky, like it's raised. I went with it for this one because I'd already started adhering it around, and then I struggled so hard getting the red part off of these, so I cut the video, and you'll just see me here in a second pasting it down because it took forever to get all those little red things off.
So this is what my album currently looks like. I have finished all of the base pages and I've adhered them to the page protectors. And so now when I flip through, I can literally flip them open and then flip through as well. So let me do that just slowly so you can have a last look at how these turned out. And I will be sharing photos of these over on my Instagram account at MISC, M-I-S-C paper, miscellaneous paper, or short for miscellaneous paper, I should say. Just like this. And so my next step is going to be to add tabs here that say lift up here, so that you know when you're flipping through this album that you're going to need to lift up and open in order to see each of the pages. This is step 1 done, so it's the base pages, it's the majority of the work that needs to be done. So that's completed. Adding the tabs comes next. The next thing after that is going to be making title pages for each of the categories here, and I will be adhering them directly onto this photo paper. And then my goal is to also do some 6x8 layouts that'll slide just inside the page protector on the back side, a variety of different topics, like, you know, where I am right now, our house, because we moved since the last time I did Week in the Life. What else was I wanting to do? Something about the animals, of course. The fact that my in-laws were visiting this week, the fact that we had a family barbecue where both sides of my family came in addition to his parents being there. So I just want to do like small layouts about like the big stuff that happened, and then also just kind of a general overview. So tabs next, and then the next video I'm going to be sharing is me making all of the title pages for each of these calendars. Thanks so much for watching.
Here are just a few photos of the finished pages, and also if you want to see my previous Week in the Life projects, you can check out the hashtag JLWITL album on Instagram. That stands for JL, Jamie Leha, Week in the Life album on Instagram. For info on the product I use, check out the links in the description box on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and or subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you. Jamie Makes, signing off.